Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon. I guess it's that kind of day. Welcome to another episode of Spilly Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. And this time for this vid, it's Tuesday. So we are descending into the world known as Agape boarding school. But before we do the disclaimers, a little bit of news. Before I get into what I'm about to show you in regards to updates to Agape this morning, please note I do not have an edit button. And when it comes to certain technologies, I'm a newbie at best, like technologically challenged at worst, alright? So please excuse this, okay? So, a couple of developments you should know about, which I did show from one of my lives yesterday. If it looks like a repeat, I apologize. Give me just a moment here. Do. Gotta go through here, get back to right before I went on stream last night. I got a couple of updates. Okay, here we are. So, first one, former Stockton, Missouri man charged with 250 counts of child porn. This individual was staff at Agape boarding school. So there's update number one. This is a face of a pedophile. This gentleman was staff at Agape boarding school. Circumstantial, yes, but it adds up, doesn't it? Oh, but wait, there's more. Our government is too busy tooting they're gonna protect us from, what they think is the trans agenda. Fucking don't get me started. There's no agenda. People just want to live and not be harassed, for fuck's sake. But yeah, I got another one here. I got to scroll through. Okay, so this is my post I did on it, but let me pull it up here for you all to see. So remember I was telling you about the hearing that was supposed to take place back on November the 14th, a couple of months ago, right? That hearing was canceled. So once again, we've got no protection for the students who came forward while the DSS agents were there to report the horrific abuse that was going on. Those kids, still there at Agape with those staff. Because remember, several of those people found guilty of abuse because of the fact that they are appealing. The law of Missouri states that as long as they are appealing, they are allowed to remain employed there. They're under direct threat, folks, and they canceled the hearing. Missouri politicians don't give two shits about abused kids. And if you don't believe me, here's part of my many myriads of receipts. Yeah. Missouri continues to kick the can down the road, hoping we will all forget and take the pressure off Agape and the evangelical megachurches that support them. I had news for you. I've fought the JRC for over a decade. You bastards are in my own backyard. It will never be forgotten by me. Nor any of the other survivors or people who've been holding your feet to the fire. Okay? Just saying. So there's your updates. My case in point that Missouri doesn't give two fucking shits about the kids here. Oh, they'll protect you if you're in the womb. They'll protect you from some make-believe agenda that they pull out of your ass today. But they're not going to protect these kids from real abuse. That it's happening right now, that's already been proven, whose evidence is plain and out there for the world to see. It's bizarre hypocrisy. I call it bizarre because this has real evidence and facts to back it up. But no, oh no, the agenda. Get me out of this state. But now the disclaimers, folks. In the description box, you're going to find the pertinent links in regards to the Agape boarding school situation, what we're about to discuss today. You're going to be finding all the articles that we've gone over thus far in regards to the over 21 civil lawsuits, allegations, and claims leveled against it. You are also going to see in there the change.org Shut Agape Boarding School Down petition. Please share those links on all your social media and don't forget to sign that particular petition. You're also going to find pertinent links to the other school, the granddaddy of them fucking all, the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, and the campaign known as Stop the Shock, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss Agape boarding school and places like it, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities, mental health issues, and even your average Joe off the street being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We talk about dark subjects and we use profanity. If your child is 16 and younger, parental supervision is advised. I am still on only 1 cup of coffee, folks. And I'm pissed off at the world in general. What else is new, right? But still, if I stumble over my words, apologies in advance, okay? Alright, speaking of kicking the can down the road, we are going back to the petition to refile for lawsuit against Agape. Can we talk about Eric Schmidt's failure for a minute before we get into it? This failure of a fucking human being did nothing but kick the can down the fucking road until he got his little cushy seat, right? You want to know why he did that? It's simple. He didn't want to piss off his base. His base, the people who put his ass in the power, are the mega churches out here. They hold all the power and all the wealth in our state. And because Agape is well connected to some of the bigger churches out here, he didn't want to do anything to upset them, even if it is to protect the fucking kids who live here. Those kids have a heartbeat too, Eric Schmidt. So with him failing all over the place and still managing to get elected, people wonder why I've hated my state since I was a kid. Because unlike what people will tell you about autistics, I can actually see the real picture quite well. You all just don't like how I bluntly lay it out there for you and produce receipt after receipt. Moving on. Missouri law prohibits individuals from working or being present at a residential facility or from living on the property of such residential care facility if they have substantial findings of child abuse or neglect or appear on the Child Abuse Neglect Central Registry. Lie. I'm going to tell you why it's a lie, and I've brought it up in other videos on Agape. Missouri has a law that if the individual in question has been charged, but they are appealing the ruling, they are still allowed to work on the premises. So that's a lie. Let's move on here. 210-493 RSMO. An applicant shall be ineligible for employment or presence at a residential care facility if he is listed as a perpetuator of child abuse and neglect under sections 210-109 and 210-183 or any other finding of child abuse or neglect based on other state registry or databases. Bullshit. I just told you why. But let's move on here. Why are you tearing apart a document in support of the survivors? Because it isn't. It's masquerading as one, though. You'll really like to use us until we become expendable when you no longer need us. I've seen it year after motherfucking year, especially during election years. Especially by these evangelical churches who like to parade us disabled kids and say, we need to give these kids a life. Baby, if you could, not let us go to these hellscapes for your re-education bullshit and disguise it as schools or medicine. These people aren't fit to virtue signal anyone. But the gay agenda, the trans agenda. What about the drag queens? A drag queen has never been caught. A drag queen, as far as I know, it's not dragging a kid off to schools to be tortured. They don't become staff at places like Agape and then abuse the kids there. That's you fuckers. That's you fuckers. You good God-fearing evangelical Christians are the ones dragging kids off to these hellscapes where they suffer from sexual and physical abuse and child trafficking. You all do that. People who worship at the altar of pseudoscience like they do at the JRC and other schools like it do that. The drag queens, on the other hand, they're just out living their fucking lives. I just wanted to point out the fucking hypocrisy of my entire goddamn state. At 9:19 a.m. on September the 7th, 2022, Children's Division sent an email and letter to Agape Boarding School at its official email address, notifying Agape that Agape Staff A was placed on the Child Abuse Neglect Central Registry for a substantiated finding of physical abuse. A copy of the letter was also sent by mail. Such notification is consistent with the Children's Division's normal practice of notifying a facility when a current employee has been found to be perpetuator of abuse or neglect. As of date of this filing, neither the Children's Division nor the Department of Social Services have received a written response from Agape. Can I tell you why this is fucked up? You realize what they're doing here. And if you don't, I'm going to point it out. Autistics in our details, right? Little detail here. Does anyone else see this as a warning? Like, nudge, nudge, if you get this guy out, we'll go away. Like, dude, get the person with the registry out and nobody can do anything to you. Right? Right? Are we also missing, again, autistics in our details, missing the point that these people can abuse kids with absolute fucking impunity as long as they're not found on these lists? By the way, I've been studying the places like the JRC for years. If you think it's easy for those kids to get those allegations out there for the world to see, I got a river in Egypt I can sell you. They monitor what goes in and out of these buildings better than any military base in the world. They keep tighter reins on these kids than I've seen drill sergeants do during boot camp. It is not easy getting information out into the world from inside these hellscapes. So if there's even suspected child abuse and torture going on, according to Missouri and fucking Massachusetts, if the person's not on the registry, we're boned. Not to mention, a fun fact, when these kids come forward and are actually to get the information out there, there is no law in place that will get these kids removed off the premises and fucking protected. None. Yeah. As of date of moving on, we'll read the next paragraph. On September the 8th, 2022, Agape's director, Brian Clemenson, reported that Agape staff A was fired yesterday, September the 7th, 2022, but still resides on Agape property in close proximity to children at Agape. My point! The fact that even within Missouri's lax laws when it comes to protecting these kids, that this person is still allowed to be in proximity of the kids is insane. It's insane. You even found him violating your lax laws and still nothing's being done. It's kind of like JRC and the 6 dead kids and are still operating, right? It's insane. It's batshit insane. There should be no get out of jail free card for these places. Agape should not be able to hold their Christianity over our heads like a fucking bludgeon and hit us with it whenever they want in order to disguise what they are doing behind closed doors any more than the JRC deserves to be able to keep hitting us with treatment and get away with whatever they want behind closed doors. It's all the same shit, folks. They just use different coloring and excuses to cover it up. And even when their own lax laws are violated, still nothing the fuck is done. And then Eric Schmidt thinks filing a brief is enough. No, getting the kids the fuck out is enough. For fuck's sake. And hearing Agape's report that it had fired Agape Staff A on September the 7th, 2022, and Agape Staff A was still present on the property on September the 8th, 2022, DSS obtained a roster of the current Agape employees, individuals with access to Agape children, and adults who reside on the Agape property, 210-1264 RSML. Agape Staff A was included on the September 8th, 2022 roster that Agape provided to DSS. Oh, so they're caught in a lie. Who's surprised? On September the 8th, 2022, Agape Staff A, who's listed on the state's Child Abuse Neglect Central Registry, was present in Agape and had access to Agape children. The presence of such an individual at a residential care facility constitutes an immediate health or safety concern under 210-1271. And those laws are so fucking lax. So to violate it, you have to be ate up on a special level of stupid. All they would have had to done was make him move out of Agape. They could have even put a house like literally right next to it, but just outside of it. They didn't. And still they get away with it. Nobody's arresting this individual. No one is forcing this individual to move. No one's doing anything. except filing another brief. Oh, this individual still has full access to the fucking kids. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a sick joke. It's a sick joke, folks. I don't know what to tell you other than that. Let's talk about it, shall we? So what are we seeing here? We are finding out how lax the laws in Missouri are when it comes to protecting abused and tortured kids, right? We're finding out that these schools are actually, even after they are told to get the person off the premises, well, they're fired, but they're still in the community and nobody does shit. And no, Eric, filing this is not doing anything. You want to know what's doing something? Sending the police there to get the kids the fuck out. That's doing something. But even when they do violate the laws, nothing gets done about it. This individual should be bodily removed from the premises completely from moment of firing. Period. Period. Motherfucking period. If you are even suspected of child abuse, removed. Okay? It's not rocket science. These schools get away with shit that public schools would never get away with. Never get away with. And then, why is that? Because they use powerful, wealthy shields. Whether it's pseudoscience at the JRC, or whether it's Christianity. They use it to hide a mountain of sins, don't they? And nobody's reporting on it except the local news. This should not be local news. This should be national news. It should be everywhere. What's happened at these schools, at Conocook, at Agape, at the JRC, we should be talking about this everywhere. Everywhere. Not celebrity bullshit. You all would rather stalk these people and make their lives hell because they dared to be someone who chose acting or music as a profession than getting to the bottom of places like this. Now, why is that? I'm going to end on that note. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, folks.